Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 15. Alright, this past week I've been sick, and anyone that's been watching my other video series probably noticed I haven't been uploading very many videos. So, yeah, been dealing with all of that. But I'm feeling a bit better, and hopefully that will stay. Any case, this is done on the last time slot on Friday. I should be one win away from Gold 3. And yeah, our opponent here is a mixed box, looks like, or at least just a standard tank push almost. A lot of casters, a lot of faces that we don't see too often. Got Girl in the Shell. We haven't seen Iron Blood Commander in a long time. Bozo we haven't seen forever. We got ourselves also a Bernhardt as well. And heck, we even have Tensei Jessica and all that. Has 3 tanks. 2 healers, it looks like. Yeah, 2 healers. I will go ahead and point out right now, I have never gone up against a Lugner, ever. I know his stuff revolves around Sen. That's about all I know. I mean, obviously, I think I fought him in AI versions of him for, like, Awakenings and stuff, but that's about it. Anyway, not much to update on the box itself. I've been just upgrading enchants for characters like Narm and stuff. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Alright, went ahead and banned Awakened right off the bat. Obviously, I know my opponent's going to probably ban Rosen Seal, especially with all the casters they got here. Sure enough, bans my Rosen Seal. Alright, they grab their Rosen Seal, which makes sense if they only had 2 healers. I go ahead and ban Hilda and ban their 1 assassin, it looks like. And go ahead and grab my Christiane. So this box is pretty perfect for me because majority of it's casters, and I have Christiane. My opponent did ban Grinshield, which is not too surprising, but they also banned my Savaria immediately. So that's usually kind of like my go-tos if I have them available. So I kind of had to think a bit about what I was going to pick from here. But go ahead and grab, since I did take one of their 3 tanks, they had to pick a tank at this point. They took Lightbringer. So this actually was a pretty good situation for me. I was a little, like I mentioned, I was a little concerned about Lugner. I know his thing can like potentially stun you if you have too much Sen. I believe you can make it be immune to it, but obviously I don't have Rosen Seal for Crystal Barriers, so I would have to rely on someone like Liana to take care of that. And also the Sen stacks themselves can't be removed through cleansing. Alright, so I go ahead and get rid of Bernhardt, get rid of Iron Blood Commander. Both of those characters can do some pretty good physical damage. Iron Blood Commander, of course, is part magic, but her dispels can definitely be pretty nasty. Also, she can make it so my troops can get heavily reduced healing. So, and I go ahead and grab Tatalia. I don't have a faction buff for her, but I have Tatalia. So at this point, they go ahead and start banning my Sherry, bans my Kagura, which one of those type KA names. I wasn't planning on grabbing her. Honestly, these are a lot of caster types, so magic assassination is really not on the table right now, especially since Christiane's still a potential pick. So they grab their Lucretia, which is a little annoying because obviously she can self-res and has the doll, and she also, if she gets past any sort of immunities, she'll essentially put 4 of the nastiest debuffs on me that can't be dispelled. I go ahead and get rid of Tensei Jessica, did not want to deal with teleports, got rid of Clotaire because I didn't want to deal with his stupid Wombo walk across the entire map and blast me for a bajillion damage and fixed damage. So I'll get rid of all that. At this point, I went ahead and grabbed Liana. I did have 3 healers left, but I really wanted to guarantee that I had some sort of very reliable cleansing and some immunities, as well as probably some potential ways to buff my characters. Obviously her 3C can buff, her Gospel can buff, and anytime she doesn't act again, it also provides a buff. So I figured that would work. Also, anytime she does her passive cleanses things off, she'll also give buffs. So I figured that would be the best way to counter someone like Bozel if he happens to come up. So at this point, they get rid of my Auto Kelmo, gets rid of my Narm. So at this point, since they got rid of my Narm, I was kind of holding off picking her just in case to see if my opponent would grab Wedem here, which apparently Wedem here is actually Demon class and not actually Flyer. So good thing I didn't actually consider that option. So they grab Bozo. I go ahead and get rid of both the primary remaining DPS, leaving them with Lugner and another tank. Christiana's not too much to worry about since most of her stuff is negating magic rather than physical. And Lugner, I was just going to have to play it by ear and see if I can endure whatever he's going to throw my way. So at this point, I'll go ahead and grab Illustrial. I was either going to grab Pyrotes or Illustrial. Illustrial has no real cooldown on her abilities to guard bypass. It's just all about terrain, and there is plenty of terrain in the middle for me to play around with to take advantage of that. So I figured I'd go ahead and grab her. Obviously, all my remaining assassins don't have any. They're not Princess faction, so any buffs they get are going to have to be from my my supports. So they go ahead and get rid of my remaining healers, leaving me with Pyrotes and Lightbringer. So I can have another tank if I really want to, but this is mostly just AoE nonsense that I have to worry about. Lightbringer does have access to Strengthen, but I wasn't really that concerned about it. They did grab Lugner, so I grabbed Pyrotes. So I'm going 3 assassins, 1 healer, and a tank. And I have to buff my own way to get them attack buffs. Also, this will be our first fight on video showing Talia, which I think this is literally the first fight ever where I've used Talia. I don't even think I used her off camera. Alright, so we'll start with our opponents. Lucretia is actually mage class, not holy, so she doesn't actually get the benefit from Lightbringer's class buff. Has sorceresses, nothing too special out of that. 3C, Free Strike, and Black Hole. Thankfully I don't have Phalanxes this time. Bozo here did bring his own faction buff, the buff himself. He also has his 3C and Seal. And then Poison Bat Mages. So pretty much all the stuff you expect from a Bozo. Minus, well, usually you don't bring a faction buff for Bozo because you're not doing damage with them. You're doing debuffs. Rose and Seal here did bring her faction buff, so she can buff Lucretia here. I don't know what faction Lugner is. I really don't. We got Mass Crystal Healing and Miracle, so a bunch of healing there. Lightbringer here did bring Holy Shield Bash. Beyond that, nothing too special. Did bring Holy Guard Mages, so nothing too out of the ordinary there. And then we got Lugner here. So essentially, anyone within his range gets extra healing. At the start of the battle, he'll pick a commandment. There's 3 different ones you can pick. And if the opponent happens to follow that commandment, it will add 2 stacks of Sen. And they stack up to 7 times. Once you get 4 stacks of Sen, you start taking increased damage and have reduced attack intelligence. And if you have 7 stacks, your active skills become silenced for 1 turn after taking action. If they don't gain Sen, they'll lose a stack. And if they go 2 rounds in a row without triggering any Sen, they will actually lose all stacks. We got here Devotion. When activated, heals a bunch of healing. Changes class type to Holy. Okay, that's interesting. And then, let's see, makes it also so before battle you get Sen on that person. And then heals after battle. Kind of fancy stuff there. Regulate here is going to be really annoying. It's infinite range. You can put it on somebody. And essentially they become subject to all commandments, which means pretty much you're guaranteed to get Sen every round. It only triggers once, though. It doesn't give you just 6 Sen all at once or whatever. And if you have 4 more stacks of Sen and you have Regulate active, it will stun you for a round and then remove Regulate. And then, of course, there's after taking action, you can recover a bunch of junk. And then I think this is a 3C. Applies 2 stacks of... so as a passive, he'll just give 2 stacks of Sen to somebody, to a random person without Sen. And then each time commandment triggers for all enemies, they receive a random debuff, which is also really annoying. And then his ability is to heal, dispels debuffs, and then, yeah, just heals a bunch of stuff. It also causes all enemy units on the battlefield with Sens to receive debuffs equal to their Sens. So, a lot of debuffs here in this this little box here. All right, sorry for the zoom in flickering. My mouse wheel is broken, as always. Anyway, on our side we have Illustria with Elven Cavalry Archers. She does have the exclusive. She's got Roundabout, 3C, and Emerald Crusher. So the key points here is there's the forest tiles here, the grasslands, there, and there. So there's 6 tiles that she can actually assassinate from. and they're all in the middle, so they are something that to work with. So as long as my opponent's within 2 tiles of any of this junk, I can potentially guard bypass. Also, I'll get all the benefits of being Elven Cavalry Archers in those tiles as well. The mountains do not count. Yeah, the mountains are sand dunes. They are not mountains, so they do not count. Alright, Liana here. I was thinking about bringing maybe Gospel for faster buffing, but since I have Act Again to also provide a buff because of her exclusive, I went ahead and stuck with this. This also ensured that she won't get herself silenced. So 3C heal, Act Again with Shrine Maidens. Christiane, standard kit, I did bring Angels, because literally the only things that will be hitting me are all magic. Yeah, everything here is magic. Even the even Lightbringer and her Holy Guard mages. So good luck trying to beat her up. Pyrotes here, I do have Quick Step, 3C, Slice Stride, Force Night Elves, stuff you've seen before. And then Tatalia here, she is max stars, she is 6 stars at this point. I do have Evil Fissure, which is 2 range and can steal a buff as well as ignore guard. She's got Evil Breaking Law, which makes it so if there's anyone on the field that has Evil Awareness, everything around it. Let's see. Sorry, it applies to all enemies with Evil Awareness, and all enemies within a ring range of them will get a bunch of debuffs. And then the main thing here is after you activate it, you can move 3 times and attack. So essentially she has 6 movement. And then Dark Devourer is a 3 range 3C, which will have high crit chance, ignores guard. And the damage multiplier is equivalent to the target's maximum damage multiplier for a single target skills. So if I were to target this on someone like Lucretia, it's 1.6. So cool stuff there. It does have a cap, of course. Yeah, it's minimum 1.3 and then maximum 2. And 1.3 is kind of common for assassination skills, so that's completely fine. She also will heal after the combat. And as a passive, when initiating battle, she can't get counter killed. And if there's any enemies within, if there's an enemy within with Evil Awareness within 3 blocks, she'll take reduced damage. And also after her first action, I'll be able to throw Evil Awareness. Evil Awareness does bypass immunity, so the crystal barriers do not block it. Now the debuffs it will give to other people will still be soaked by crystal barriers. So crazy stuff there. One thing to note about Tatalia is she does have the range bow. So when I said 2 range for Evil Fissure and 3 range for Dark Devourer, I was lying. It's actually 3 and 4. So she actually has even more range and mobility than Pyrotes here. She also has more attack. Alright, so with all that said and done, let's go ahead and dive right in. So opens the Regulate, puts it right onto Talia. And it goes with Evil Words. So for Tatalia, it doesn't really matter. Tatalia is going to trigger no matter what because she follows all the commandments. Essentially, the one that's just activated is anytime I do a non-damaging skill, I will get 2 stacks of skill. Or 2 stacks of Sin. This will pretty much trigger off of things like Quick Step, that Evil Breaking Law. It'll trigger off of Order Creation and Act Again. It will trigger. Well, also I think it will trigger off a heal as well. It also will trigger off of the faction buff and Floral Realm. So it's a pretty safe way to get a bunch of Sin up. The other Sins that can also be done, or commandments that can be done, I think there's one for damage, which I think applies before combat. And then I think there's one for just moving a lot. I think is the gist of it. Anyway, so with that, I'll go ahead and move up. And I go ahead and apply Evil Awareness to Bozel there. And I start kind of spreading out. I mean, spreading out is mainly because of the potential AoEs that are coming my way, but also I wanted some flexibility as far as where I can attack. So you may have saw that little proc that happened with Pyrotes. That's because I lost a Sen, and it's just letting me know that the next time I lose Sen, I'll lose all of it instead. I did get a random 2 Sen because of the Lugner's passive. Anyway, So yeah, he faction buff, nothing too surprising there. At this point, I am within kill range of... I could potentially either try to go for Lugner, I think. Yeah, with 3 movement, I can go here and go 1, 2, 3, 4 and attack Lugner. I could kill Poppet. And I can potentially kill Bozel with Tatalia. The only thing I'm not entirely certain about is how the 4 stacks triggers exactly. Because I could do Act Again this round. I am second player. It's completely safe. But this commandment thing can't be dispelled. So I wasn't sure what would happen exactly. I'm pretty sure if I had did something like Evil Breaking Law, it would just, I'll be like able to act again, but then immediately be stunned. So I couldn't really do that with Talia right now. So instead I go ahead and opt for Ode for Creation to make her immune to all debuffs. That way I can use her next round. Alright, I do get some Send there because it was a non-offensive ability. So this threw me off. Anyone that knows Langrisser, she gets herself res when she's within 3 range for a Poppet. Poppet is now 4 range. I don't know if this was a bait. I don't know what the purpose was. And currently she doesn't even have a faction buff active. So she is within guard range. Yeah, I don't know what the plan here was. Like, even if she doesn't think I have the range bow, Tatalia could still get in regular range. And it's possible my opponent doesn't know how Lustriel's exclusive works, because no one really uses her anymore, so that's a possibility. In any case, I go ahead and get faction buff and guard on everybody. And we're just going to see what our opponent does. Right now, just going to put things in perspective, also got Sen. Bozel can go to here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she can hit, or he can hit Tatalia with his 3C, and that's about it. And right now she's immune to all debuffs, so it wouldn't really do too much. It'll do damage, but that's about it. So my opponent goes ahead and opts to just do a faction buff. So I was like, okay. So I was like, alright, what can I do here? I mean, I was like, was my opponent expected counterattack kill? I don't know what the plan here was. I have assassins, so I outspeed as far as attacks are concerned in the animations. So I was like, alright, well, I was originally going to go after Bozel, but I'd rather do this. So yeah, I do the, I go ahead and do Evil Breaking Law, and as you can see, it threw out a bunch of debuffs. It actually applied a debuff to Bozel there, so it reduced damage there. Everything else just kind of soaked up stacks, which is still useful. So, 4 range away. I don't know what buff I lost. Yeah, plenty of damage, and healed up back to full. And I'm completely out of range, so my opponent can't really do anything. I don't know what Lugner's doing. I really don't. He did switch to the damage Sen, or commandment. So yeah, anytime I do, before dealing damage, it'll gain stacks of Sen. So even if you're doing non-direct attacks, it'll still trigger. So at this point I was like, alright, well, I'll just put up Floral Realm, take my time. I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what Bozel does here. I could go to, let's see, I think I can only go 2 steps. So yeah, right now, what's the range of this? 3 blocks. So I can go to here and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I could try to go for Bozel here, but it would just be with a quick step buff, and that is it. Which, I mean, I still might be able to get a kill. He doesn't have much physical defense. But I went and just took it slow. I was just going to see what my opponent does. So I go ahead and just move up to the forest. Because if my opponent just hangs back, I'm completely okay with this. So yeah, move all my assassins up into guard range. I do get hit with a bunch of debuffs here. Tatalia was immune, so it wasn't a big deal there. So yeah, nothing too special there. Got a bunch of debuffs on Christiane here. Lost passive skills here. And then, of course, a billion debuffs here. But the good news is, here's the range of our Lustriel. Here's a forest tile, and here's a Bozel. And he also was out of range to get a crystal stack, so I can actually remove buffs and debuff him at the same time. God, 52,000 damage. Celestial is just bonkers. And I ran about back into range. And that's the fight. So quick and simple. A bit rambly, I apologize, but there was, like I said, I don't fight Lugner ever, so wanted to go ahead and talk about that. Also, never got to use Tatalio ever, so as you can see, she did quite a bit. Yeah, I probably could have gotten a kill at PR test, but honestly, I didn't want to risk it. I mean, she wouldn't have her attack buff. She'll get her buff for her her 3C, triggering it. Her talent, giving her like another 30% attack. But I was like, there's no reason to rush. I could just wait, because if I failed to assassinate, there's a good chance he would just fell back, and then I would have to wait until he moseys forward. One way or the other, there was not much my opponent could do. They only had 1 DPS left at the time, and Bozel was not going to be able to get kills. He was just going to be annoying, and all I had to do then at that point would just be take the center and then assassinate everything that gets in my way, and then, you know, end with destroying Lightbringer. So, with all that said and done, so a few things I learned. I did lose a match prior to this. This match was pretty much decided by a Breeze proc, also letting my opponent have a Archon of the Moon and getting pulled. But even if I didn't let him have Archon of the Moon, he would have had something else that was nasty. He also picked it very early. It was also on a map that it was on the stupid Sky map, of course, and that was player 2. It was just bad all around. I did try to put up a fight a bit, but I was just getting wailed on by Sword and Light Shadow, which was the first pick on my opponent, and also procced a lot of clock procs, so it was just downhill all the way. Good news is I had a second ticket, because every Friday I was getting one of these tickets here. So I used that and actually made sure I didn't lose any points from this loss. I also used it in this fight just in case, and I won it, and I actually got to keep the ticket. So that's something to note. If you have these tickets, just use them. Like, there's no reason not to use them in most cases, unless you want to really save them till, like, you're borderline about to rank up or something. It definitely can save you a lot of trouble. I'm now Gold 3. Our win average is what you usually expect, around close to 50%, which is not too shabby. There's definitely boxes I'm still not very good against. Unfortunately, there's just not much we can do about that right now. Besides just me getting better at band pick and figuring out what to do about the usual meta. I did get my season reward, so I did get my my skin for was it Lisa, I think her name is. So pretty good stuff there. Besides that, I think that's everything for now. Yeah, I believe next week is the collab, which I think is with the anime/manga called Slayers, which has a crazy mage girl that had a bit of a brief stint in PvP, but quickly got kind of just forgotten, unfortunately. I was considering using her back when I was doing the AoE type stuff, but since I'm not really focused on that anymore, I'm probably just going to grab her and then not worry about her for a while. In any case, I am the Depressed Dior. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 15. I'll see you guys later.